Welcome back, and happy Halloween. I've covered a wide array of weird and wonderful, maybe wonderful isn't the word for it, stories from the wasteland that I've heard over the years. From undead nightmares to zombie plants, all of the stories I've told you at Halloween are scary in their own ways. Today's story is far more terrifying than the last, however, due to how common these creatures are in the wasteland in comparison. Out there is an apex predator, able to hunt and kill humans wearing even the best of gear in a matter of seconds. Some say it stands at 15 feet tall, with bulletproof scales and long claws able to impale a human's chest with ease. It can run as fast as a chrysalis highwayman, with beady white eyes and a set of sharp teeth and horns the size of miniguns. My name is The Wanderer, and on this frightening Halloween night, I tell the wasteland legend of the Deathclaw. To understand the horror that is the mighty Deathclaw, we need to tackle its origins. Xenophobia is what makes a Deathclaw even scarier than it already is. Deathclaws are creatures that feature qualities from many different animal species of the old world. A prominent member of these species is the Jackson chameleon. But the Deathclaws didn't just mutate after the bombs dropped like your average rad scorpion or mole rat. Deathclaws were made before the war. Featuring scaly skin, spiked backs, horns on the side of their heads, a savage set of teeth, and a horrifyingly sharp set of claws, likely where they get their names from, the Deathclaw would walk on two back legs and hold its claws like a mantis its pincers as its long tail sways in the wind. This was likely a cold design choice by the scientists who made this abomination, weaponizing it and giving it a further viewing distance. In a gruesomely cheap attempt to create a creature capable of close quarters combat to spare the lives of United States soldiers during the war, the United States military and the United States government commissioned scientists to create an apex predator capable of CQC with a keen hunger for human flesh and senses as sharp as any animal on Earth. This is likely why a Deathclaw's scales are incredibly resistant to melee and small arms attacks, but are more easily damaged by energy weapons or heavy arms. God forbid you run into one of these freaks with nothing but a pistol. Just imagine you're a soldier fighting on behalf of China, inside of a derelict and war-torn building engaging the US Army and CQC, only to have your teammates dragged away horrifyingly, and the walls around you shattered by 15-foot-tall monsters. While this is a scary situation to think about in your mind, thankfully no records from the US Army have been recovered after the bombs that detail Deathclaw deployments on any missions. This could be for many reasons, but let's say for fear's sake, they were simply too hard to control. On the 23rd of October 2077, the events that would set the end of the world in motion would begin. China hailed nuclear hellfire among US soil and spelled the end of time to Earth. This wasn't the end for the world entirely, however, as from the rotting corpse of the United States, a wasteland festered, with newly mutated creatures and ghouls. Civilization broke down, the government disappeared, and military checkpoints, scientific research facilities, and other points of interest were left to rot, leaving whatever remained inside of those facilities to break free. And so they did. Deathclaws in many different military bases and science facilities broke loose into the wasteland and were now free to hunt, kill, and reproduce at their heart's content. The wasteland, even when cursed by nuclear fire and infested by creatures capable of hunting survivors to the edge of the earth, somehow just got worse. With the Deathclaws now free and roaming the ashen ground, various settlements built from ruins of the old world began to talk, and the words they exchanged were horrifying. Caravans going missing, strange sounds coming from the caves, terrifying silhouettes shifting in the wasteland sand at night. While a rare sight to the common wastelander, everyone knew the myth of the Deathclaw. In places like the Boneyard and the Hub, however, the Deathclaw was less mythical or legendary, and more a real threat. A mother Deathclaw had nested nearby to the Boneyard, and her hellspawn were left to wreak havoc upon the surrounding areas. Deathclaws, whether alone or in a pack, are known to make nests and reproduce in those nests, with a mother laying eggs that will eventually hatch into children of the devil. An interesting fact, These eggs have a long shelf life, and can be used to create some more exotic delicacies in the wasteland. I've heard some good things about Deathclaw omelets, haven't tried one myself though. The former headquarters of a little known gang named the Rippers was now the nest of the mother Deathclaw, lying between the Boneyard and the Gunrunners. I think we can all figure out what the fate of the Rippers was, and it's likely they were ripped apart. Pun intended. With a threat that large in California, it's a no-brainer that these Deathclaws needed to be exterminated like the pests they were, but it's finding a brave soul well equipped enough to take on such a difficult task that's the issue. Another wasteland rumour I heard is that in yet another act of heroic badassery, the legendary Vault Dweller from Vault 13 exterminated the Deathclaw hive, equipped with heavy weaponry and power armor, and a fuck ton of luck. I can only imagine what it must have been like living in the Boneyard at the time, witnessing worried mothers tucking their children into bed, assuring them that the Deathclaw would not come to take them in their sleep, when that assurance was not guaranteed. The weary guards watching the sands for an army of horned silhouettes to arise from the horizon, rifles shaking in their palms as they await their doom. Or perhaps their fate would be more unexpected. As you've probably guessed by now, Deathclaws are pack animals, led by alpha pairs across the wasteland and settling at nests usually away from civilization, but as we've already established, this isn't always the case. Another example of Deathclaws making nests near to human settlements is in the Mojave. Quarry Junction was a mining site set up post-war by the New California Republic to provide materials for construction, worked by the miners living in the small mining town of Sloan, not too far from the quarry or Goodsprings. The ruthless escaped convicts from the NCRCF, known as the Powder Gangers, attacked Quarry Junction after their escape from NCR conviction and stole all of the miners' supply of dynamite. This dynamite was vital for the mining efforts, and without it, production came to a standstill. In this quiet moment of unrest for the miners, things were about to get worse in a terrifying way. In the silence, a mother Deathclaw and her pack moved into Quarry Junction, nesting at the far end of the quarry. Picture this. You are a miner, working early in the morning to start your work at the quarry, when you notice bizarre eggs at the entrance to a cave in the quarry, only to be greeted by the ugly visage of an alpha Deathclaw. Also in Nevada, far from civilization thankfully, lies yet another nest of Deathclaws on the bank of the Colorado River. This nest is large and inhabited by nearly 40 Deathclaws. 40! One Deathclaw is enough to take on an entire town. Maybe you'll get the upper hand with some power armor and a minigun, but 40? You're fucked. To emphasize the danger of this Deathclaw promontory, two men lie in a pile of bones inside the confines of this nest. Two men clad in both T-51B power armor and Enclave advanced power armor. Two of the best suits of power armor the world has ever seen. If these guys didn't make it, nothing and no one will. Just when you think these tales from the west coast are spine-chilling, wait until you hear the stories from the east. In the capital wasteland, the former capital state of the old world America, sits a town named Old Olney. Very little is known about this place, apart from the fact that it is home to a high-value power plant the Brotherhood of Steel took some interest in quite some time ago. And the fact it's home to a pack of Deathclaws. On the rubble-filled streets and in the sprawling underground sewers, the Deathclaw pack stand hunched, patrolling and looking for any naive fools who may try to infiltrate their lair. Rumour has it from someone who has been inside and survived miraculously. The body of a person clad in an experimental T-45D power armor suit lies consumed by the Deathclaw pack. Let that sentence alone deter any adventurous idiots from attempting to get inside. In 2077, the southwest of Boston was a direct target for a nuclear bomb. This is likely due to the number of military outposts and silos in the region, making the target a no-brainer for China. After the war, this ground zero spot saw its grand expansion into a foggy, green cesspit, home to all sorts of mutants and creatures, a lot of which were Deathclaws that had broken free from the confines of the military bases in the area. This glowing sea, as it was later named by residents, became the home of every mutant creature in the wasteland, and the Deathclaw was no stranger to that, as it strolls the glowing sea's rubble-smothered grounds, looking for a mate, a nest, or prey. Now, one Deathclaw alone is incredibly dangerous, with artificially increased intelligence, strength, and speed, A pack of Deathclaws even more so. But what if I told you attempts had been made to make the Deathclaw even more intelligent, or god forbid, lethal? Rumour has it that the Master artificially enhanced Deathclaws during his time as leader of the Unity, using the forced evolutionary virus to enhance the Deathclaw in similar ways that he did his super mutants. There is little to no evidence of this, however, and it is simply just a wild wasteland rumour. In California, just a few years before I was born, the faction I once belonged to also used FEV to experiment on Deathclaws. The Enclave planned to use FEV to make Deathclaws obey orders without question, making them lethal CQC units, much like they were intended to be pre-war. While an intelligent Deathclaw that obeys orders without question sounds terrifying, thankfully these Deathclaws seem to be in touch with morals and reason, questioning and abandoning their master's diabolical ideals. After the Enclave wiped out what remained of Vault 13, these Deathclaws stayed there and made it their home. Not only were these Deathclaws able to see morality, but they were also able to talk. Their FEV-enhanced intelligence allowed them to parrot human speech, which is terrifyingly fascinating. Getting chased by a Deathclaw is one thing, sure, but having a deep conversation with one seems almost as scary. But then again, all of this is just a Halloween tale. Thank you for listening to this Halloween's spooky tales on the Deathclaws. Please feel free to like and subscribe for more content. If you want to show your support while enjoying benefits such as early access to videos, and a shout out at the end of each of my videos, consider clicking my join button and becoming a Wanderer supporter today for just £1 a month. Speaking of members, here are their names: Cypriot Fox, Bonk, Lovable Douchebag, Splicer87, Stewdog, The Macabre Tavern, and Slumvex. Thanks for watching, and...
This is an urgent broadcast. Our town has come under attack by raiders. We're outgunned and outnumbered. Please, anyone in the vicinity, respond. We need support.
Sounds like a local settlement is under attack. We best get to work helping them. Who knows, maybe we could even see if they would like to join the Wanderer Legion. We could always use the new recruits for our cause. I've pinned their location on my Power Armor's heads up display. Grab a rifle and follow me. Strange. Everyone's dead. These bodies don't look like they suffered gunshot wounds. Looks like some sort of large melee weapon. Sharp. Brutal. Messy. What was that sound? Good mother of God! I thought we were gone for good for a second there. That's the second time in my entire life I've ever fought a Deathclaw. It doesn't get any less scary, I'll tell you that much. Let's check out where it came from. Looks to be some sort of tunnel down there. Could be a nest. We best go in and see if it laid eggs. We can't be having an infestation. May God help us all.